It didn't feel casual. That was the first thing. From the beginning, there was a certain weight to it. Not pressure, not intensity, but presence. He didn't just show up, he stayed. In conversations, in moments, in the small details most people overlook. He listened, not just to respond, but to understand. And you could feel the difference, because it wasn't surface level. It wasn't just attraction. It felt like recognition, like he saw something in you and chose to lean into it. He didn't rush, but he didn't hold back either. There was a balance, a calm kind of effort, the kind that makes you feel safe without realizing it. And that's what changed things. Because usually, you stay slightly guarded, you wait, you observe, you don't fully relax. But with him, you did. Not all at once, but gradually, because he made it easy. He was consistent, not perfect, not intense, but steady, and steadiness is rare. So when you feel it, you trust it. He checked in. He remembered things. He followed up. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. And that's what made it different. You didn't feel like an option. You felt chosen, even without labels, even without definitions. It was in the way he showed up, the way he looked at you, the way he stayed just a little longer than necessary. And slowly, without forcing it, you started to open, not because you were trying to make it something, but because it already felt like something. And that's when it became real, not in words, but in feeling. There was a quiet understanding between you, that this wasn't random, that it meant something. And maybe that's where it began to shift. Because meaning changes things. At first, everything is light, easy, there's no expectation, no pressure, just two people enjoying each other. And in that space, he could be fully present. But over time, something subtle started to change. Not in a way you could point to, but in a way you could feel. The messages were still there, but not the same. The tone softened, the pauses grew longer. He was still kind, still warm, but something had pulled back, just slightly, and at first, you didn't question it, because everything had felt so solid, so real. You gave it space. You stayed grounded. You didn't chase, because there was no reason to until there was, until the space became distance, until the silence stayed longer than it should, until you felt it clearly. He wasn't showing up the same anymore, and that's when confusion replaced certainty. Because nothing had happened. No argument, no shift in dynamic, just less. And that's what made it so hard to understand. Because when something breaks, you can process it. But when something fades, you question everything. You go back through it, looking for the moment it changed, the message you might have sent, the tone you might have used. Something, anything, because your mind needs a reason, but the truth is, there isn't always one you can see. Because for him, the shift didn't come from something you did. It came from what it became. At the beginning, there was no weight. He could enjoy you freely, be present, be engaged, because nothing was being asked of him yet. But over time, that changed. Not because you demanded it, but because connection naturally deepens. And when it deepens, it starts to mean something. And meaning one creates responsibility, not responsibility you placed on him, but responsibility he felt internally, to continue, to show up, to be consistent. And for someone who isn't fully comfortable with that, that's where the pullback begins, not as a decision, but as a reaction. Because suddenly it's not just about enjoying the moment, it's about maintaining it. And that requires something more, something stable, something grounded, something intentional. And if he doesn't have that within himself yet, he can't hold it. So instead of stepping forward, he steps back, gradually, quietly, until the version of him you connected with is no longer there. And that's what hurts the most. Not just the absence, but the contrast between who he was and who he became, because it makes you question the reality of it. Was it real? Did he mean it? Or did you just imagine something that wasn't there? But here's the part most people don't understand. It was real. In those moments, he meant it. The attention, the consistency, the connection. That wasn't fake. But real doesn't always mean lasting. And feeling something is not the same as being able to sustain it, because sustaining something real requires emotional capacity, consistency, clarity, presence over time. And not everyone has that, even if they want to. So when they reach that point where it asks more of them than they can give, they don't always explain it. They don't always communicate it. They just fade. Not because you weren't enough, but because staying would have required them to become someone they're not ready to be yet. And that's not something you could have changed, not by doing more, not by being different, because the connection didn't end from lack, it ended from limitation, on his side. And once you see that, something shifts. You stop trying to decode the past and start seeing it clearly. He showed up until he couldn't, and that doesn't erase what you felt. It just explains why it didn't continue. And those two things can exist at the same time.